Hey everyone, it's me, Flaro Spider, and I just want to say this right now. I'm sorry that, the break between my video ideas from Spider-Man 3 review to this, it was not intended to be as long as it was. It's just that I just want to make a channel announcement that I really didn't want to make. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Arrowverse. And, well, other stuff to go along with that. But, sorry if I sound a little out of breath right now. I kind of just got done working out. But anyway. So. And obviously, I normally don't make videos like this, but I am doing this for the sake of my channel, and will tell you all a little bit more about why I did the things I did on my channel. In case you haven't heard the news, it turns out Superman and Lois is actually not part of the Arrowverse, or at least it doesn't take place on Earth Prime like we all thought it did, which, in Season 1, it seemed pretty clear that it was in the Arrowverse, like John Diggle showing up in one episode. Obviously, it's Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, and the actress for Lois Lane, don't know her name, but the one from Supergirl. But we know it's at least Arrowverse canon to the multiverse because of, well, the cast says it all, and plus, well, it was connected to Crisis. But then, right around the time Season 2 started airing, there's been a lot of debate about whether it's in the Arrowverse or not. Like, I'm like, why is this even a conversation? I thought it was pretty clear that it was in the Arrowverse, but, well, I will admit, in Season 1 I was kind of confused because, well, I didn't think it was really, I thought it took place in the future, considering how, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, John and Lois' baby, John, was, well, a baby. But in Superman and Lois, they already had twins, and they're teenagers. But obviously, when John Diggle showed up during an episode of Season 1, that turned out not to be the case at all. So, and well, obviously, there not being mention of Supergirl or any of the other heroes, other than one time in Season 1 when John Diggle mentioned Oliver. But the Season 2 finale is when the show really retconned its way out of the Arrowverse, when General Lane said that Superman is the only superhero the world has ever known. Like, he didn't talk about Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, The Legends, Black Lightning, or Batwoman. Which, ever since Crisis on Infinite Earths, those heroes have been famous on Earth Prime. And Superman was even working with them, so there's no way it would take place in the same universe because of that. Which, I'm not saying Superman and Lois is a bad show. I love it, and I really liked both of the first two seasons so far. I like Season 1 more because I don't really see any flaws in it, but Season 2, I still think it's great, which I'll talk more about that in Superman and Lois Season 2 review, and I'll still keep watching the show if it's gonna become one of my favorites because, well, I agree Superman is one of the better superheroes out there. Sure, he may not be one of my top favorites like Batman and obviously Spider-Man, Green Arrow, and The Flash. But the reason why I'm making this video, though, is apparently what's been going on behind the scenes when, according to YouTubers who I've watched and who mostly talk about something Arrowverse related, YouTubers like Pagey and Eric's Reloaded, they've talked about how this new upcoming show called Gotham Knights is apparently supposed to take place on the world Superman and Lois is on, which is called the Superverse, according to David Ramsey, which, in case you guys don't know who David Ramsey is, that's the actor for John Diggle. But also possibility of the Arrowverse ending after The Flash is over, which, as of right now, it's the only Arrowverse show left, considering how the rest are done, sadly. Well, especially Arrow, it's sad. While I've not really watched Supergirl, I've only seen the first 6 episodes, a couple episodes from season 2, and all the crossover episodes. But I heard it, based on what I've heard, it's a bad show, but I know there are people out there who like it. I have this one really good friend of mine who's trying to get me to watch it. But let me know if I should give it a try or not. I might as well consider doing it if all the Arrowverse shows are going to be done. Legends of Tomorrow is over, which I've seen the first 2 seasons and season 3 episode 1, along with all the crossover episodes. Well, by that meaning Crisis on Earth X and Crisis on Infinite Earths. But from what I know, the rest of season 3 is great, while even if it has some of its flaws, and I might as well consider finishing it because it has Damien Dark, along with the rest of the show having Reverse Flash, well, season 7 anyway, which I heard seasons 4 through 6, especially season 6, were awful, like hilariously dumb awful, and that season 7 I've heard was okay, but definitely better than seasons 4 through 6 because of the Reverse Flash stuff, but again, I might as well consider watching it. I've seen Black Lightning episode 1, and from most people, they tell me it's a really good show, the only bad season being season 2. And then Batwoman is the worst show ever, which is probably the show that killed the Arrowverse. And, like, season 1, I've seen the first 2 episodes and Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's it. Haven't seen the rest of the show, because, well, it was already awful, and it just shows, like, how bad CW is at trying to bring Batman to the Arrowverse when they know they can't do that. So they decide to do spin-off characters, and they completely fail at it when Green Arrow is already good enough. He's similar to Batman. And also, well, The Flash, sadly, has been going downhill after season 2. In my opinion, season 3 was the last great season until season 8, but season 7 really gave the show a bad name. So, sadly, it won't be getting... Well, I've seen Flashverse's video on it along with the DC TV show. The DC TV show, not to take this as 100% confirmed, and just take it as David Ramsey's perspective, so there's still hope in the Arrowverse. And according to Flashverse and Eric Wallace's interviews, he didn't debunk there being a sequel series to The Flash. But if The Flash really is the last show in the Arrowverse, then that's going to be really sad. I mean, I am glad that Season 8 managed to save the show before it ended. And I'm not saying that The Flash or Arrow are bad shows. They're still my favorite shows, with Green Arrow and The Flash being at least one of my favorite superheroes. But obviously they canceled Green Arrow and the Canaries and Painkiller, which that's a sequel series to Black Lightning, which Green Arrow and the Canaries would have continued the story of, well, Arrow, even though Season 8 was a satisfying ending, but I see it more as the ending to Oliver Queen's story as Green Arrow, and then Green Arrow and the Canaries continuing on the legacy of his daughter Mia becoming the next Green Arrow, and then that could set up the next sequel series, and then that series can set up the next. Same for The Flash, too. But of course, Eric Wallace, which I don't blame him for this, he's not going to worry about a sequel series until the final season, and for now he's just focusing on The Flash. So, anyway, my point is, though, it just... I guess... okay. The reason why this affects me is not only is it disappointing that their legacy won't continue, but especially with the type of heroes they are in the comics, it's quite disappointing considering how I'm still reading the Green Arrow comics, and I'm on the part where Oliver's son Connor becomes the new Green Arrow. And then... But The Flash is an even better example of that, how it started off with Jay Garrick, and then multiversally it was Barry Allen, and then Wally West became the next Flash, and obviously Impulse, who became Kid Flash twice, along with the next Flash, and then Barry came back. Like, there's so much they could do with the show, too, on how they handle it. But you see, obviously, I guess it would make sense why The Flash became my mainstream topic when I first started this channel as Speed Force Master, was because, well, that's what I was interested in doing, and I also became Speed Force Legends to, well, basically acknowledge, well, anything to continue on, well, the Flash story, which I hope I don't sound like an idiot. It's just, the stuff kind of entertains me. While then I became Legendary Flaro, and now still Flaro Spider for, well, obviously the Spider-Man side of things. But I became Legendary Flaro because, well, I just finished Arrow, and it became my new favorite show. And even though I knew Green Arrow and the Canaries was canceled, I still had faith that it would happen because, as the Arrowverse still being alive, Mia showing up in Armageddon, and, well, felt like it could happen if the CW was interested, but it almost seems like the CW wants to abandon the Arrowverse once the Flash is over. Which, I don't even know if you realize how sad this is for me, because the Arrowverse has been around for a decade, and I've known it since I was a kid, when I got introduced to The Flash and other shows like that. And then, but I guess the reason why I had faith that it would happen was because I couldn't accept the fact that my favorite show had already ended before I got interested in watching it, and had to face the facts that Green Arrow and the Canaries got canceled, so it wasn't going to continue on, which it would have been so interesting considering how there are villains from the Green Arrow comics that the show has never used that would have been unique, like Crimson Archer or Rainbow Archer. And then, which Arrow, let's be honest, it had main villains that, weren't really Green Arrow villains in the comics. Ra's al Ghul being a Batman villain, even though he trained Malcolm Merlyn, like he does in the Arrowverse. Damien Darhk in the comics was a Teen Titans villain. And yeah, still though. Oh, and Emiko Queen, based on what my one YouTube friend who comments on my channels, Oliver Queen, has told me, she's a sidekick in the comics, but the Ninth Circle were still villains. And it just became something I wanted to have as my mainstream topics to, acknowledge that too. I don't know. And at this point, they probably will consider canceling a sequel series to The Flash, because, even if they do plan on it, like, they already did that with Green Arrow and the Canaries and Painkiller. And Daredevil got a sequel series, though, and I always kind of thought one of the Arrowverse shows might. Because Dragon Ball, another amazing show, had 2 shows along with movies to continue on. So, that is incredibly disappointing. And it just really sucks how DC, the way it's been adapted compared to Marvel, like how successful the MCU is, and the Arrowverse arguably being better than the overrated trash that is the DCEU, for, reasons I've talked about a lot in past videos of mine, and especially what's going on behind the scenes right now with Ezra Miller. It just shows, like, the Flash movie is being way too overhyped at this point. Like, watch the show. Well, that's kind of all I have to say. This is probably going to be my last video as Flaro Spider, which it really sucked too, because I didn't know it would happen this quick after having a new YouTube name. But don't worry, I'm still going to have Spider-Man as one of my mainstream topics, unless I lose interest in it for whatever reason. And I'll review the Amazing Spider-Man movies in my next 2 videos, and then I'm also, I want to say, for my Spider-Man 3 review, apparently people didn't hate it. They boost my subscribers up to 190. So, thanks. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe if you're new, and all that other stuff.